Tonight, a man accused of an opportunistic sex attack on a Sydney beach. He's alleged to have targeted two innocent girls in the water before touching them up. Worse still, tonight he's back on our streets. Lightning doesn't strike twice for Wild Oats 11. They breathe a huge sigh of relief after a second straight protest is dismissed. Now it's back to celebrating a ninth Sydney-Hobart win. Don't come back, that's the message from the government, which cancelled the passport of one of our most infamous terrorists. Thinking of some DIY around the house these holidays? We've got a fresh warning about what can go wrong. And the Big Bash is a smash, and our women's soccer stars are kicking goals. So why are our young girls quitting sport in droves?
This is 10 News First with Nick Etchells.
First tonight, an accused predator is back on our streets despite the sickening alleged attack of two innocent young girls swimming at a busy Sydney beach. And they were only spared from more harm by an eagle-eyed mother who claims her own kids had been approached by the same man. She spoke exclusively to 10 News First. Police are questioning a man after a woman was hacked to death with an axe in a home invasion south of Perth. The man, who's in his 20s, was taken into custody, naked, disoriented and covered in blood at a cement factory near the woman's Munster property where her body was discovered. Officers don't believe the attack was random. Sydney-siders are being stung big bucks to watch fireworks in their own backyard. And even when they get their prime spot, there are still lines to deal with, expensive food and drinks to buy, or no booze at all. Still to come, a double tragedy for two Australians holidaying in Burleigh. Tributes for a 21-year-old run down by an alleged drunk driver. Wild weather in North Queensland as another cyclone brews off the coast. And what Donald Trump's threatening to do next if he doesn't get funding for his border wall with Mexico. A bomb blast has killed 4 people and injured a dozen others in Egypt. The group were on a tour bus sightseeing near the famous pyramids when the bomb went off. 2 men from Perth have died in Bali on separate family holidays. Ashok Joshi drowned while swimming at a Seminyak beach on Thursday. He'd only arrived in Bali that day for a holiday. Well, the family of a second Perth man, Chris Taylor, are trying to bring him home. It's unclear how he died. US President Donald Trump has threatened to shut the Mexican border if Congress doesn't hand over the money needed to build a wall. In a series of tweets, Trump vented his frustration, blaming the Democrats for blocking funding and refusing to change what he calls ridiculous immigration laws. It's estimated shutting down the border could cost the US economy up to $1 billion a day. The threat is the latest shot fired in a political row that's led to a partial shutdown of the US government. Actress Angelina Jolie has hinted she might trade Hollywood for the White House. In a BBC interview, she refused to rule out a run for the Democrats in 2020. The 43-year-old said 20 years ago the idea of going into politics was laughable, but now she would go where she was needed. We've all heard of striking a pose, but this is a beauty contest of a different kind. One lucky camel will be crowned the prettiest at this traditional Mongolian festival. In case you're wondering what the judges are looking for, it's a luscious coat, a great body and nice hooves. 10,000 camels and their owners take part. For those whose humps don't quite measure up in the beauty department, there's also racing and polo competitions. Still to come, the reason many young women are ditching team sports. And another drowning in what's becoming a horror summer on our waterways. Yet another woman has died while swimming this afternoon in Victoria in what's becoming one of the worst summers for drownings. But one state has come up with a new way to help get the message through about swim safety. Time now for sport with Caty Price. And Caty, Australia on the verge of making some unwanted history.
Yes, unfortunately, Nick. India has never won a series in Australia, but they are closing in. After Australia's top order crumbled once again, the tourists are cruising to a crushing victory at the MCG. A young Socceroo eager to make his mark at the Asian Cup. And the on-air split involving two former South African cricketing greats. Good evening. India is on the verge of a crushing win in the third test in what will be their first at the MCG since 1981. Set 399 to win, bowler Pat Cummins showed up the Aussie batsman hitting a half-century. But it seems that's only delayed the inevitable, with the tourists needing just 2 more wickets for victory with a full day's play remaining. Here's a lesson from former South African captain Shaun Pollock. It's not about slips catching, but rather what you shouldn't wear while doing such segments on TV.
Split the pens. I was worried about tearing my suits.
Too much Chrissy pudding for him, Nick.
A little bit too much, with nowhere to hide.
No.
Coming up next, Scott Tweedie has all the weather details. That's coming up soon on 10 News First.
Tonight's weather is coming to you from beautiful Burleigh Beach in Queensland, and this is one of the locals. She's a young gun Aussie billabong surfer, Pasha Light. Talk to me about the surf here and all the way down the coast. It's some of the best in the world, isn't it?
Oh, it's so special. I mean, we've got the most famous surf breaks and they're all protected by a World Surfing Reserve, so hopefully we'll have it for years and years to come. You know, you just got to keep learning and having fun in the ocean, and surfing's the best sport to find your love.
Well, something very special is happening here next weekend. Stay tuned. But right now, let's have a look at the weather. As you can see on the satellite, there's been a bit of cloud movement today, especially down in South Australia, Victoria and Tasmania, which cooled things down a lot. That's thanks to a cold front. While down the coast of Queensland, there were onshore winds bringing soggy conditions. Looking at tomorrow's synoptic, there was a trough over Victoria. Southern New South Wales will also bring isolated showers and storms, and that will also draw in the warm weather as well. Broome will be 33, Carnarvon 32, and sunny in WA. In Perth, the next 3 days it's going to be 28, 30 and 30, and Darwin, you are going to have a soggy New Year's Eve. So that's your weather coming up for your New Year's time. What is happening here next weekend?
Well, next weekend it is the 22nd annual Single Fin Festival down here at Burleigh, and so us girls are going to get out in the water with our retro single fins and have a blast.
That is happening here at Burleigh Heads. So if you've got a retro board from 1985 or later, come on down here to Burleigh Heads.
All right, thanks, Scott. Now to some very sad news for the 10 News First family. We have lost one of our own. Our former New South Wales state political reporter Josh Murphy passed away yesterday after losing his battle against brain cancer. Josh shone a bright light on politics in the state. His many exclusives exposed many important public issues. He was razor sharp at cutting through the political jargon because he understood the public. But his fabulous sense of humour and, more than anything, his kindness shone an even brighter light on himself, a truly decent guy who inspired many. It came as no surprise to us when he was snapped up by the government to help lead the way on its communications team. He worked closely with Transport Minister Andrew Constance and his team. They were equally heartbroken, saying Josh was an incredibly talented media professional whose contribution to Macquarie Street and New South Wales will live on for decades. He was also a true and loyal friend to many, and he leaves a huge hole in our government and in our hearts. But Josh will always be part of the 10 family, and tonight we send our deepest condolences to his family, in particular his mum Cheryl, his father and stepfather, and his brother David. A celebration of his life will be held at Sydney's St Mary's Cathedral on Friday. Josh Murphy was 36. That's 10 News First for tonight. I'm Nick Etchells. Thanks for your company. See you same time tomorrow. Good night.